Welcome to the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Freemasons while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, he also has a name. It's Alex. So, Alex, since he just really shit the bed on the first part of this, he's going to do better on the second. He gets to introduce probably one of the guests we have that will have some of the coolest stories, and we won't be able to share them all on this podcast. So, Alex, introduce our friend here.
Absolutely. Super excited to introduce illustrious Sir Worshipful Marvell Summerow.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
So, when I years ago when we first met, and I saw your name when you came through Midian and whatnot, I was like, Marvell Summerow, that sounds like either an action character or a prize fighter. And I was thinking about this today, and I thought the introduction Alex should have done was something like,
Dun, dun.
5'8", 170 pounds, boxing out of the blue corner, Marvell the Potentate Summerow.
See,
that would have been good, yeah.
Next
Alex
time.
twice, not so good. So, have you ever seen any of the episodes?
I have.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah,
You're a busy guy.
I'm a busy
So,
guy.
we like to know probably more about the man than we do just the Mason.
Okay.
So, tell our guest, who's Marvell?
Marvell is from Park City, Kansas. Born and raised in Wichita and Valley Center area. Went to military school. After high school, for 2 years, decided that military school wasn't for me. Dropped out with 4 months left.
Oh.
From becoming an officer in the Army, and decided to join the Air Force. Was in the Air Force from 2002 until 2022 when I finally retired.
Okay.
And traveled the world, did some cool stuff. Started off as an aircraft mechanic, got my degree in criminal justice, decided to go over to OSI, and then from there stayed with OSI for 14 years until I retired.
Where did OSI take you in your career? Where were the different places that you were stationed with them?
I did a little stint here at McConnell in Wichita, Kansas, and then went to Little Rock, Arkansas, to Little Rock Air Force Base, Hickam Air Force Base, and then from there I went to upstate New York, and then my last was as a reservist in Texas, at San Antonio.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. So, wait, hold on. So, we don't have to make you buy a dress or anything. Married? Kids?
Oh, yeah. If I didn't talk
This
about
is
my
what
wife.
we do. I save our brothers at this table.
Yes,
This is
thank
what
you,
we
thank
do.
you. Yes, I have a wife, Janelle, and she's been with me for the last 18 years of my 22 years of the military. So she has been there through thick and thin, and I have two. They're not my biological kids, but those are my children.
I agree. I get it.
So I've raised them since they were 7 and 10 or 9, and they're grown and got grandchildren. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
That's
Alex?
So, Marvell, walk us through your Masonic journey from beginning. What made you want to pursue Masonry? What made you want to pursue higher roles in Masonry? Appendant bodies. Walk us through that.
Okay, so my first deployment in the Air Force, 2003. I was with a group of guys, brothers, that pretty much took us under our wing, his wing, and we were introduced to some interesting folks in Turkey who were all Masons.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, so they were actually partying.
Okay.
So we went to the club. He saw one. Of course, the sign came out.
Sure, yeah.
And then we were introduced to him. So he brought us over. It was a Thanksgiving dinner. Got all the Masons together at his house, and kind of took us. We were deployed to Turkey.
Yeah.
He was stationed in Turkey, so it was come over, eat. He's like, anything in my house is yours except for my wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair story.
Fair.
All right.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Yeah. But so from there, I got interested. And it wasn't just myself. There was a group of 3 of us who all were deployed at the same time with this the individual. And he was like, okay. So let me go fast forward a little bit. We get back from our deployment, and I brought the question up to my father, who has almost 50 years next year.
Oh, wow.
He'll be a 50-year member of Fred Douglass Lodge out of Wichita, Kansas.
That's crazy.
And I brought the question to him. So from there, he made me read.
Yeah.
He wanted to know why I wanted to become a Mason.
Sure.
So I must have said the right things. Gave me a petition. Gave the whole group, because he sat down with all of us, gave the whole group a petition to petition for Douglass Masonic Lodge number 99.
That's awesome. I love hearing those stories of, having family members that are involved. I mean, of course, your dad, 50 years, guys that, have forgotten more about Masonry than, I'll ever know, having that connection.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have a long legacy.
I don't know.
I was the first.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Alex actually brought his brother in years ago.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
great. That's
he got
great.
to do
Pretty
something
cool
cool. Yeah. So keep going though. So now you're fast forward. You're a Master Mason, and Alex asked about more appendant bodies. So just kind of highlight.
Okay.
We'll come back around and get what you missed.
So from there, it was just more seeking more light in Masonry. So reading, going through the journey of, first, second, and third, and then continuing on and learning more and more about Masonry. What Masonry is about, not just I'm here to be at a meeting.
Yeah.
I want to know what I can do for others and what I can do to bring others in to make them better. Mm-hmm. So reading through, we're Seven Sons of Solomon. That was my group.
Okay.
So we had 7 guys that went through. All of us, we wanted to do more for the lodge. We wanted to do more for our community. We wanted to do more for everyone that was out there, even help brothers that were not coming around and doing things like that. So we kind of brought everybody back together. The lodge was very strong at that time. So I wanted to continue my search in Masonry, so I became a junior deacon and worked my way up. I left Kansas in the senior warden spot, and then traveled to all my duty stations and found different lodges and visited, but never left Fred Douglass. So again, passing on knowledge and to their young guys, and especially the military folks, it's just one of those things.
It's a brotherhood. It's a camaraderie.
Yeah. That was the biggest thing for me is my last official lodge that I really visited was in Hawaii, and it was nice to see a military lodge of individuals of all makes and models. So you're talking not only just local Hawaiians, but you've got Army,
But
Navy,
you got privates
Air
to generals.
Force. Yeah,
so
you
to
got
speak.
everything. Everything. So it was good. And then I deployed to Iraq. I was with the general. I worked in a little group there in Iraq, and the general was there. So it just kind of blew up for there. You know, it's just a lot of stuff. And then when I got back to Kansas, kind of just hit the pause button when I left, and then started right back up.
It's a great thing about Masonry. Yeah. You can do that.
Yeah.
Even with relationships, fraternal relationships.
Yeah.
We talked about, we hadn't seen each other forever, then we saw at the airport. I don't see Alex a lot, but every time I see him, it's just like the first thing he does, he always first, hey Heidi, how you doing, before he acknowledges me. It's still annoying, but that's just, but it's just you're able to pick right back up, right? And it's not that we don't have problems inside the fraternity. The stuff that matters, we'll address it and hit it head on, and then it's like, how are you? And we're talking about the kids and T-ball and all this different things that you do, because the kids don't realize, our kids were young when they grew up through this, but they didn't realize how many crazy uncles that they would have later in life.
Yeah.
And that when our oldest got married, she wanted to make sure that, there were some that really had some key parts in her life that she wanted them to, to be there, even though I capped her wedding at a certain number.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's good. It's kind of a good thing. You left some stuff out, but we're going to come back around because I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now I got a quick question.
Okay.
Non-military guy.
Okay.
Question about military lodges. Masonry aside, it's got to be extremely intimidating to be a lower rank and being in front of a general, right? Mm-hmm. And I know that once we meet in lodge, we're all the same. We all meet on a level, right? So what is that like? If you're sitting in lodge and say you're going through degree work, or you're we'll just leave it at that. You're going through degree work with somebody who's
Let's go the extreme. Let's go private to general.
Yeah.
Private general, everybody meets on a level.
Yeah.
100%.
That's cool.
It is probably the coolest thing when you're talking the commander of all Iraqi forces or all U.S. forces in Iraq was in the lodge. And then you have him getting his haircut at the barber shop, which was not, it's just a private, the Qatar.
Yeah. Right.
And then we all meet at the lodge.
Yeah.
So it was, it's one of those things that he's just on a level just like everybody else. He's just a normal person.
Yeah.
I think the general, he's got the no pressure. It's the younger up. But picture this. There's been a scenario somewhere in time where you've got an E4, not quite a commissioned soldier yet, but he could be master of the lodge, and there could be a scenario where our colonel's his damn Tyler.
True.
Tyler, go check the door for me, buddy. It's like, did you say please? I don't say please. I'm master of the lodge.
There's only one person wearing a hat right now.
Right. Yeah, there's only one. It's like, you know what? Lodge is going to be over soon. I'll see you outside.
It's so
great
interesting.
question.
That's a good question. But everybody meets on a level. So.
That's so cool.
And it's that's all right. I'm not in. Nobody can do anything to me. I would bet though, if I'm a colonel and I've served in lodge and I've got that E4 that's a master of the lodge and I've walked him work, when it comes around to promotions, I'm going to say, you know what? I've watched this dude lead, and when you're trying to kind of pick through, it's like, I'm going to have to give this one a flyer. I've seen him perform.
Yeah.
Conversely, I've seen him perform. We probably need to put him back. Right. And so it cuts both ways, but I also think that for young soldiers, whether you're going to leadership schools and all the different things you can go to, lead in a lodge in a lot of scenarios with folks that are of higher rank. What a better way to learn how to lead and to have the ultimate mentorship, because it could be as you advance through, one of these guys might be your company commander when you're the top, and you're like, 100%. Okay, and you know what you're getting with each other. And again, that's where people think we're cultish and because you're fools.
Yeah.
But we generally, military and then masonry, but we want the people around us to do well.
Yeah.
Because when my friends are successful, I'm happy for them. Never envious.
Yeah.
When my friends say, hey, I got a question about this, I'm not going to lead them the wrong way. I say, well, let me tell you where I've succeeded and where I've sucked hind tit before in this.
Yeah.
But you have to be candid if you're really trying to be a good human. Forget masonry and forget the military. At the core of everything, core of masonry is about being a better person.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I digress. That's my soapbox of the episode. So walk us through your journey of OSI. So I know enough about OSI to be dangerous. I know that you can't come in to go to OSI. You go into your job, Army, they call it the MOS. So you go into your original job, and then OSI scans like, oh, the ASVAB score is good. Let's go on our group. I'm going to pick him and recruit. Is that how it works?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
I know Squadoosh.
No. So OSI is Air Force Office of Special Investigations. They run felony level investigations for the Air Force, just like NCIS, but for the Air Force.
Sure.
Okay.
Like CID, but for
The Army.
Yeah. But also a mix of the Army. You have military intelligence, Army OSI.
Such an
Air
oxymoron,
Force,
guys.
Yeah. Military intelligence. OSI does also intelligence work as well. We do counterintelligence work.
Okay.
So I first started OSI in 2008 as a just hit the ground running. Young OSI agent that was doing felony level crimes. I got really up into buying and selling dope to either civilians or military members. It just depends on what we were doing. Yes, we can target, and I shouldn't say target, it's more of we can run cases on civilians that had some type of nexus to the military.
Sure.
So with that nexus, that's how I could take cases to the AUSA or the Assistant United States Attorney, or to some magistrate or local court.
You really become a federal agent.
You are a federal agent.
On that side of it.
Yeah, so you're a 3-letter agency, just like FBI, just like some other ones that are out there, DA or whatever.
Yeah.
I worked many cases with...
that you partnered up with.
Yeah, with the FBI, but I was also on the task force, the Joint Terrorism Task Force as well. So I ran counterterrorism cases, I ran counterintelligence cases with the FBI, and then I switched from doing criminal cases over to counterintelligence after I deployed to Iraq and did nothing but counterintelligence from about 2010 till I retired in 22. So 12 years.
Counterintelligence from anything from propaganda, internet type stuff, catching radio traffic.
Yeah, kind of more of someone's trying to get United States secrets or give United States secrets out. That's what I was.
Okay, that was your specialty.
Yeah, I was specializing in.
And there's been some of that in the headlines.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
There's
even something as simple as, hey, there's going to be troops on the move tomorrow at this time, which you want to know that because it puts those troops in harm's way.
Or even the easiest way to say this is you have U.S. base over in, say, a foreign country. Well, OSI is the counterintelligence that is trying to figure out who's trying to penetrate that base, that infrastructure.
Sure.
Either through means of attack or, doing computer stuff or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right.
So
good to know that we have people like that on our side.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So of the cases that you've been a part of and that you can share, what was the coolest case that you worked on?
the coolest case.
Cool's relative, so you tell us.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases.
What's the thing that the listeners are going to say, oh my God, here it comes?
No way.
I can't talk about a lot of the counterintelligence ones.
Sure.
You know what? Talk about this big dope deal in Arkansas. You teased us earlier on that.
I can do that. I got the little angle on there.
Let's talk about you Arkansanians and your dope.
So I ran a case, a mix with the DEA and local narcs that the guy was selling narcotics to military members, and I'm talking anywhere from cocaine to methamphetamine to simple marijuana cases, whatever. He was a taxi driver that, of course, you can vet taxi drivers. They come on base, they pick up the military members that want to go down and party.
Yeah.
Right.
And, well, he was a taxi driver. Well, we targeted this guy after we found out that these guys did not pass a piss test.
They started to sing.
We started our thing and doing what most federal agents do and build a case. Well, that case led to another. So before DA and any of the other big agencies got involved, we found out where this guy was getting his stuff. Ended up, we went and met with him, did an intro with, we used our source. I'm a source handler. So we ran our source against the taxi driver. We introduced our undercover into the taxi driver, who in turn, when we were buying one day, the number 3 person in the state of Arkansas for dealing was identified. So that case kind of led over to that one.
You hit a big dog.
A big dog. It was very big.
And I'm gonna picture it's not some hillbilly white guy in the back with some moonshine and 3 teeth.
No,
a little more sophisticated.
A little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah.
This guy was very hinky. was very aware of his surroundings, but we were able to still get what we needed out of the situation. I pulled my source out, which made that case go forward. We got an arrest warrant for the taxi driver, who in turn went on the run because he was going to get arrested for selling lots of narcotics. And I'm not talking, simple use case. I'm talking, a brick of cocaine. It's like, we were doing some really big moves.
So that probably came with some accommodations and.
No, not really.
No.
No.
Oh, well, that's I know you say, well, I'm just doing my job. Well, give me another silly ribbon.
Nope. But it did help me. It did help the situation of, again, we're talking about bringing people together. Well, we brought a lot of agencies together during that. So it was not only just locals, but federal agencies were all involved in that case, and then the powers that be, DEA, and all that started doing stuff that we don't. Now it's a little bit different because we can't, you have to go to court and different things. But back then it was, I could put a tracker on a car. I could go sit up on a wire, which I did a lot of wire on after that and things like that. So it was listening to people's phone calls and watching cameras and things like that. So it was good. It was a good experience.
Yeah. But the documentation and the detail just to make everything stick here, it was crazy.
It took a team.
Yeah.
And it was more of, that's probably the hardest part, was trying to get everybody on the same page. We're all trying to write similar, but we couldn't because we're all taught different.
Right.
And, you're taking case. One person has to be lead on it. My agency was not going to be the lead because it went way past our level. So,
but the groundwork was laid, so it could be passed off.
Oh yeah, 100%. So it was good. It was good to do that, and it led to some good experience. And
I love it.
Yeah.
So you do cybersecurity now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So average person, should we be concerned about using a Wi-Fi in a hotel or Starbucks?
Yes.
Okay.
So I use a VPN.
VPN's good. VPNs are good.
Yeah. So we'll use Alex. Alex is.
I like that.
Alex is at his local Starbucks,
which I frequent often.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
So this is why we're making it not so. So Alex is at his local Starbucks. He's just chomping along, having his mocha chocolate, and doing some interviews.
That's exactly what I ordered today.
I figured that you would.
Yeah.
And so he says, you know what? I need to use the Wi-Fi. What's your password? No problem. Starbucks 1234. Very safe. Types it in. What has he potentially exposed his computer to?
Everything. A malware attack. You're talking a malware that can be embedded in your computer. You wouldn't know about it. You can talk about someone just pulling all your information without you knowing. They can lock you out of your machine. Sky's the limit, really, on a public Wi-Fi. So that's really bad.
Yeah, so we don't do any of that stuff either as well.
Even your phone. So it's not just a computer. Your phone, if it goes onto public Wi-Fi, if you don't have a VPN set up, everything that's on your phone is vulnerable.
Android or iPhone? What do you like better?
iPhone.
All right.
Safer.
I won't even go there. So I will tell
we can talk.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm a Droid user,
I see.
So screw you guys. So I will tell you this. There's no way that I will be able to be hacked on the internet because about 6-8 months ago, I got an email from be jealous if you will, boys, a Saudi Arabian prince.
No way.
And
wow.
Yeah.
He said, hey, I know you're used to getting these scams about being a Saudi Arabian prince. Well, you're not a Saudi, so you can't be. However, I can stop you from being hacked. No way. So I sent him 3, not 5 like some of your other rookies, 3 gift cards. And I gave him my password to my Wi-Fi at my home and social security number. I didn't give him like my family's number. I'm not crazy. And so now I think I'm protected. So
well, there you go.
Anyway,
that was perfect.
I digress.
Yeah.
I digress.
You are so safe.
Perfect. So, boys, don't do any of that. Oh, Alex. Oh, my gosh. So
here's a question.
Yeah.
So you were master of Fred Douglass Lodge.
Yes.
What year were you master?
2016.
2016. If you could go back in time, your year as master, what would you have done differently, if anything?
Whew. You know, it's a good one. I went through a lot of struggles. Fred Douglass, when I left, it was not abnormal to have 20 people sitting in the lodge. Fred Douglass was booming. We had the Seven Sons of Solomon. We showed up every meeting. Of course, my father and the guys when I was a kid growing up were there. They were still there even when I became a Mason. They were there. But when I came back after being gone for 8 years, there wasn't that many people. And I wanted to figure out why. Why is everybody, not even the past masters, not even those that were there when I left, why aren't they there?
And it's not just, the death curve that every Masonic lodge
That they like to blame it on.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's not that. No, it was more of people were being ran off. People didn't want, there was new blood that was in there that was trying to be a Mason and do different things for not only just the lodge, but for the community.
Yeah.
And they were ran away.
Yeah. From what you call the old guard, maybe.
The old guard. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and old guard's not age. Old guard is tenure in.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's not just an age number, because there could be a guy that's been in there 15 years that's 40 years old, and he could still be running people off because that's not the way we did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I brought my knowledge of being, seeing it as a strong lodge in Hawaii that I was with, being with them and trying to get that. I wanted to get that blood going. You try to bring new members back, trying to get new members and also old members. Bring everybody back together. Well, I walked into the lodge not having any water, the lodge not having any gas. We barely had electricity in our lodge. So I walked into, okay, we've got to do something.
A shit show.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it was a shit show.
Yeah.
So for me to do anything over again would be, I probably would have maybe invited everybody back there just to see everybody's opinion.
Yeah.
Even those people that I did not communicate with over the years, but people that I knew that, hey, I know your past dues, or how about this? Come back and let's all sit down and talk.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Or I'm not going to fix it this year.
Yeah.
But why? So we can fix it moving forward.
Yeah. Because it was a home. It was not just, this is a home, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But your lodge is your home.
Right.
Well,
That's
and
where you want to be.
memories are made there. Masons are made there.
Yeah.
Friendships are built.
Yeah.
You have those hard conversations like, man, I've had a hell of a day at work or home, and tears are shed. Counseling sessions are had. All of these things that we do. Yeah. And so, full disclosure, Fred Douglass Lodge number 99 in Wichita, Kansas. It's a Prince Hall Lodge.
Prince Hall.
So, we don't really talk about the different setups and all that. So I just want to let you know here. AF and AM lodges, Prince Hall lodges, we all have the same problems.
100%.
Same thing.
And, I can tell you that before we visited that Fred Douglass Lodge in 2015, I had Prince Hall lodges on this pedestal because we'd heard that when you go in, they're all in tuxes, all the members are white gloves, this, that, and the other. Like, holy shit, we're about to get shown up, boys. Yeah. And it was a little different.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, everyone was dressed sharp, and it was opening, closing's a little bit different. But just like our standard, Albert Pike Lodge used to be called Shirt and Pike.
Yeah.
You couldn't even be a Tyler if you weren't an unlimited card holder, but then you had to work through the study club officers to get that before you could be there, and you weren't sitting there unless you had a jacket and tie, and it's relaxed over the years. So people that have heard the old Shirt and Pike thing and they come over to Pike now, they may be like, oh. Yeah. Right, and I think that we it's kind of like that. I don't know what it's called, heroes syndrome, or when you put your hero or this thing on a pedestal and you get there and you're
never
let
meet
down.
Your heroes.
Yes, never meet your heroes. So your one thing you would change, there'd be lots, but your one thing would be maybe to get everyone back and sit down and say, "What's up?"
Yeah, basically. It was my home from when I was born. My dad was a Mason before I was born. I grew up in that lodge. That was my home.
Right.
I knew the guys.
It's your family home too, I'd argue.
Yes, everything. My mom, her Eastern Star was there at that lodge. It was it was home. To come back to a shambled home was very hard.
After being deployed and, with your service to the country, you're like, holy hell, boys, you had one job.
Yeah. So it was really hard to see it that way.
I think one of the cool things too about our fraternity is that our fraternity still can exist and thrive without these things, without a building.
100%.
I think you still will always have that foundation of men who want to come together and improve it. And I think with anything else, some volunteer organization, if I were to come back and that random volunteer organization had had a similar experience, I would have just said, see ya. Just wouldn't have, because you don't have that same foundation as we have in our fraternity. So,
and it's not like Marvell was just like, I'm doing stuff with the kids for 8 years. He was gone. So he literally had no opportunity to make a change as he went. Right? And so not a lot of people in this world are victims. And I really feel like in that scenario, you were a victim because there is nothing else you could have done. Now, somebody could say, well, did you call and check on the lodge? Dude, don't even go there. You think they're going to say, oh, yeah, man, the lodge is going to shit. No, they're not going to do that. That's just not reality because we have this. Anyway, I digress. So,
I did call because my dad was active in the lodge. So I did call.
Did he have the rose-colored glasses on?
No,
a little bit.
No, he actually told me everything that was going on, and he knew he kind of knew that when I came back, you're going to go in the seat. So,
you're like we need you now. You're going to go right back where you left.
Yeah.
So you left out. I mentioned earlier. You left out some stuff on your Masonic journey.
Oh,
but, this is what we do. So. I understand you're the past patron of the Eastern Star.
Yes.
I know nothing about the Eastern Star. So is the past patron similar to like a master of a lodge?
No. So Order of Eastern Star is it is the women's Masonic organization.
Okay.
And there's a man that is the sitting individual of that organization.
Of the worthy patron?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that time when I was the worthy patron, my mother was the worthy matron.
Oh.
And so is that the worthy matron the master of the lodge?
The master of the lodge.
So you were the Robin to her Batman.
That's right. That's right.
All right. You were the wonder to her woman.
Yeah. I was there.
I love it. So
Yeah.
So as a past patron, is that kind of like a past master or not really because you're just the sidekick?
No, just a sidekick,
the lady's the master, you're the sidekick.
Yeah.
You're the trailer as they call it.
For a meeting to be tiled, there has to be a Mason involved. So there was that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how cool is that? You've been able to set in a lodge environment with your pops and with your mom.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You kind of beat us here. So. The only other person that's got to do this that we're aware of that we've talked to, Mark Reeder. We had him on the episodes. He'll be Grand Master of Kansas in a few years. This is the first time that I've heard somebody doing that. And if you go back and listen to that episode, the emotion that when he got to do this with his mother was so damn cool too. Yeah. So it's kind of neat.
It was enlightening. I'll say that. It was definitely interesting to be. My mom would be sitting like this, like you are, and I'm like, she'd stand up.
Oh, I got give you a little nudge.
Oh, I got to stand up too. Yeah. So that's basically how it works. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, being able to share that experience with your dad. I mean, nobody else in my family is still active. I did get to bring my brother through, but being able to share those experiences. What a cool scenario.
A little envious.
My dad brought me through masonry.
Oh,
he made me a Mason.
Yeah.
So that was.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. So that was good. It was good. My dad is still involved, but my mother was also there when I became a star. So it was
awesome.
Yeah. So it was cool. She was sitting in the seat when I became. So it was good. It was good to see it that way.
Yeah, you win for the day. You win for the day.
So also a Shriner.
I am.
Past Potentate. Emeth Shrine parties. Describe those and how would they be different than a Midian Shrine party?
I'm going to go back because as a potentate of Emeth, we didn't have any parties.
Okay.
We frequented Median here. There was not that many thriving members of Emeth Shrine.
You're saying that in
Now-
past tense. Is Emmett still around?
It's still around,
Okay.
but
Struggling.
yeah, always. I mean,
Okay.
they have a building, or at least back when I was there, we had a building.
Oh, God, buildings. What a suck.
It's,
What a suck for
gosh,
Masonic.
it's still there, and it was there.
Ugh.
But when I became a Shriner, was in Hawaii, and the parties that we threw, Shriner parties,
Yeah.
Midian parties. So I'm a motor patrolman.
Yeah.
Our parties they're pretty good compared to.
Pretty comparable.
Yeah.
Got
We would
some
take over. We would take over clubs.
You got
in
marching,
Hawaii.
marching coming in?
Yeah, it's kind of
Little
a whole,
stepping?
yeah.
All right.
It was, yeah. You would take over the whole floor. You take over the whole club. That was our environment.
I
That was
love
our
it.
parties
I love it.
in Hawaii. Now here at Midian, yeah, it was. We threw some pretty good parties too.
they're okay.
We did
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we've all been to one. So.
Yeah. Well, no,
One or two.
it's there's some feeds we follow on social media where they're Sons of the Desert. They promote a lot, and they'll show some of the entrances to the parties and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that's a damn entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we do the all Potentate 2016 Terry Shrink. You know, it's like get some.
And coming in the East
You know,
door,
yeah.
76-year-old coming in at 5'10", 160 pounds.
With a new hip. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I am somebody is going to send me hate mail for that, but you know what? If you do, I'm going to do a whole bit on that and I'm going to introduce it, and it's not going to be cool, boys, because you want me as a Mason. If I'm not, you're going to hate it. I promise you,
Yeah.
boys. So, this is a serious question.
Okay.
Why aren't more men joining Masonry today? What's
that's-
your opinion?
My opinion of it is they're not seeing much of Masonry anymore. I'm not a current dues paying member. I'm not
Plot
active.
twist.
Okay. When I became a Mason, faith, hope, charity.
Yeah.
Charity, right? Mm-hmm. Doing stuff, being out there, going to parades, going and doing things where people see you, going to do just something as simple as clean up somebody's yard, going to do something around your lodge, throwing some type of event where it's like, hey, it's free to the public. That's what I saw.
Listen up, boys.
Charity. That's one thing that I noticed over the years. I think it's because, again, the older generation is older. Mm-hmm. Our generation is kind of just, we're here. The younger generation's not doing what, we just aren't getting that level of participation. Commitment where, like on a Saturday, nice weather, what would most Masons do? Back then, we would come out, we'd go rake yards, we would go clean up
the
something.
river, yeah.
Yeah, do something. Okay, hey, District 1, what do you need? Hey, do we need to go to school? We need to go to school. This is the last day of school. Let's go up there and have a little cookout for the kids.
Sure.
That was one of the things that when I came back, became Mason, we did that.
Seeing Masons in the public doing charitable acts.
It's the brand.
Yeah.
It's the brand. So our lodge, we do a lot of great donations, big donations. But I would argue, as I'm listening to this, money is one thing, right?
Money is one thing.
Yeah.
But, and again, I think our lodge should continue to do what we do. The Kansas Masonic Foundation that supports us and allows us to do all the great things that we do. However, I think the simple thing of wearing your lodge shirt and cleaning up the river, wearing your lodge shirt and volunteering to be chaperones at an event.
Yeah.
There's little things that we could do different for the brand management. And it's twofold. One, you're helping, but let's be a little self-serving. You got the square and compasses out in the public. And the other side of it is, We've all got guys that represent the brand better than the others. And don't make this an appearance thing. Don't make this a money thing, because if you do, you're as dumb as I think you are.
Yeah.
So, but representing the brand, whoever's out, they're your face. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks the brand is the square and compasses. It is absolutely not. No. It is the person.
It's the person.
And so I would argue why people aren't joining, in addition to we're not doing enough in the public. I think we got a brand problem, and I would argue in some scenarios we've raised the bar so people can get under easier, or lowered it so you can get over. Whatever. We've got some brand issues there, and it's a damn shame, because Marvell has voted now with his feet. Mm-hmm. Think that through.
Yep. True.
You'll get, I don't know, I'm listening to this dude. He's not even... He voted with his feet, man.
Yep.
Potentate, set lodge with mom and dad, served his country, past master of a lodge.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what? I got to do something. I voted with my feet in some organization. So, I mean, it's okay. Yeah. But I think that's a great answer. I mean, and it's the most simple. Yeah. It's something that costs us no money to get out in the public.
Yeah.
Not a freaking dime.
And the stuff that you're talking about, and you know, the way in which you talk about, you're doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. You know, it's the reason that we get together as Masons is to make ourselves better, make our communities better, and you know. There is a brand piece of it too. Yeah. But it's just guys doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. And it's
pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Pretty simple. We overcomplicate things.
Yeah, a great example, and it's got to be 10 plus years ago, but, I had an elderly neighbor who was moving into an old folks home. I sent a quick
Was this Highland House?
Yeah. Yep.
I remember this.
Yeah. And, she was a widow and needed help. I sent one text message out, and we had 15 guys there the next day to move her into her new.
That's masonry.
That's masonry.
And
that's
masonry. And that it's a great example. And we had nothing to gain from this.
Nope.
There was no.
Nope.
She wasn't going to go on the radio and say the boys from Albert Pike.
But what we should have done, what the kids would say, we should have IG'd that damn thing. Hey, these are some guys together. We helped somebody do this. Yeah. And not for, hey, look at me, but it's the brand management of the damn thing. Yeah. But there's some opportunities. This damn phone is in everyone's hand. And we wouldn't even need her in the place say, hey, do this in just a quick 1 minute deal. Say, hey, had a call, somebody, this, that, and tell the story. Holy crap. That would, if somebody's on the fence, that moves them.
Yeah.
That might get them to stay or join.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is like, not only just in helping the elderly, helping, a brother out, we gotta help our children too.
Yeah.
So being in the schools.
Yeah.
Being in, Shrine teaches you about helping children that have some disability.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
So why not do that in masonry?
Yeah.
I remember going to the schools. I remember being in front of the kids. I remember being, let's do some stuff.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Right. We were at an air show. Mm-hmm. As a lodge. I was not the master. I was a junior warden at that time.
Yeah.
But it's still, we were out there. We're spreading.
Hey guys, we're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
And it costs this
zero.
It costs
just to have a booth. Even if it cost us money to put a booth together, why not?
Yeah.
It's just like if you're coaching. Yeah. Alex is starting to coach his young children in sports. As perpetual assistant coaches, he'll tell you. So
I'm a hype man.
He's the hype man. But the things that, like when I coach my kids and whatnot, the two things I always told my daughters was this: you can control two things. It's your effort and your attitude.
Absolutely.
So in masonry, it takes no effort to go to a show, to do this, to clean this. And it takes no effort to put fake a smile on your face for an hour or so, whatever you got to do when you're on the clock. Yeah. Effort and attitude, boys. Yeah. I mean, we can start slowly turning this ship. But
it takes everybody.
It does. Yeah. And some people say, well, what are you doing? This is what we're doing. We're talking about it. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's a great point.
And it's really easy. Everyone does something at different levels. We've all sat in lodge, spent plenty of hours in lodge, proofing up on different things, serving and doing this. We're doing something different now. What are you doing?
Yeah.
right?
The biggest thing for me was, it was when I came back to Kansas and saw how Fred Douglass was, I knew that it wasn't just a dying order. It was more of the attitudes. Even as we call it, the past master attitude.
That's bombshell.
Usually past master sits in a corner, and they just kind of quiet. You mess something up,
wait, it's a thee, not a they.
Yeah. But that's not that anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't that way. They didn't want you to progress. That's what I figured out.
Yeah,
it's like they didn't want you to progress. So it was that hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, was a member of Albert Pike too.
Yeah.
But I don't have that. I don't see what Masonry was back when I originally.
I think, and I've talked about this in the past too. I think that one of the biggest things that our fraternity as a whole needs to put a lot of focus in, especially when we're talking about younger members, newer members, is providing mentorship.
100%.
You were the guy for that. You are
100%.
Tom Braley was my mentor going through my degrees. Tom died about a year and a half ago, and we would go fishing at the reservoir and go through degree work. I remember going to visit him in the hospital. He would call me and say, "Hey, I'm in the hospiel for a few days, so come here and we'll read."
As he was getting his
there.
B card.
And so
that's awesome.
I give him 100% of the credit for my involvement in this fraternity. He was there for questions. He was there when I had an issue about how things were going. He would listen to me. And at the very least, he would be that ear for me to say, "Hey, I don't understand this. Why are people acting this way?"
Right. But two things happened there too. He put in the effort. He kept the right attitude to keep you coming. Effort and attitude.
Yeah.
And you put in the effort to come in,
That's
even though
thing.
you didn't want to at some point. Oh my God, I got to go study again. So you had to put that attitude on, that game face on to do that too. So I think it's going to go back. I think that's going to be our buzzword of the podcast. It's really effort and attitude.
Yeah.
It's going to create a whole lot of
100%.
solve a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
Right? So now to the most important question of the podcast.
I don't know what it is.
Nobody ever does. So up on the screen, you're going to see not 4 because you're a special guest. You're going to see 5 things.
5. Oh,
One of these has to go forever. It was never created. So I'll talk it through as we go there. So on the screen, you will see you have the Army. You have the Navy. You have the Air Force, the Marines, and the Coast Guard.
What about the Space Force?
Yeah.
That's part of the Air Force. I'm just saying, it's part of it.
One of these has to go forever. Now, we're going to let Alex answer what he thinks first as a non-vet, and then you'll say yours. We're going to talk that through. So, Alex, one of those branches has to go forever. Who is it and why?
Oh, this is going to be
So, is it the sexy soldiers? Is it the guys that like to be on ships together? Is it the chair force? Is it the crayon-eating Marines? Or is it the Department of the Redundancy Department, Coast Guard? We don't need you. We got the Navy. Who is it?
You guys are going to give me so much shit for answering this question the way that I'm going to, but I have equal respect for all 5 branches.
We have equal respect to push it. No.
You got to put one.
You got it. Hey, we all have
I will
respect.
answer.
Which one goes?
It was never created, never invented, is gone forever. Hey, and by the way, Mason spearheaded all of these, by the way. That's on another episode.
Oh, that's good. Ooh.
Got a lot of respect for the Coast Guard.
You can even say it with a straight face.
I do.
God, it's disgusting.
But I think that we have one of the biggest,
Bear with us, folks. We're going to run out of film by the time we answer. We'll wait.
The 2 most dangerous people in the world are the President of the United States and the Commander of the United States nuclear submarine. So I feel like the U.S. Navy has got
it
covered.
Okay, that's fine.
On
Right.
on the water.
So, who's going?
They've got it covered.
Who's going?
I think that the Coast Guard has done an admirable job, but if you're forcing me to answer the question...
They're redundant. Get their ass out of there. Who's going? Who do you say?
Okay. You ready?
You better not.
Okay.
Better not.
I can't say the Army.
Thank you. Because we're all under the same diamond department.
Army, Air Corps, Air Force, of course.
Okay.
You know, it all came together.
Okay.
All right.
You know,
Yeah,
that goes together hand in
I'm
hand.
vibing with you so
Yeah,
far.
I got it. Okay, Marines fall under the Navy, so they can stay.
Okay.
Okay.
Coast Guard, yeah,
They're redundant.
they're redundant.
They are
The only
redundant.
thing is guess who's deployed right now to the Middle East? Coast Guard.
Really?
Yeah, they're patrolling waters.
Okay. Well,
So, but
must
Coast
not be a
Guard-
big job.
Coast Guard's job.
I said what I said.
Coast Guard does not have the level of participants as the other branches.
Maybe also because of their lack of funding.
That's
That's a
true.
funding thing too. I've always said, listen, all great branches, anybody that's served, because we're in a
very
volunteer
true, very
world
true,
now.
Very true.
Coast Guard, I feel, is a little redundant because you can move a lot of that stuff over and kind of throw them under. You can't get rid of the Army, the Air Force, the crayon eaters. You know, you don't really know what they do. They don't really go into
Break in case of emergency.
Yeah, you know, that's it. If you need.
They're the first ones in.
No, hey,
Now,
actually,
hold on, wait a minute.
the Army's deployed way more. So there's a reason. If it's like, we need door breakdown, we know who we call. I did that for you, Merle. So that's all we got. Thanks for watching the Old Fashion Masonic
Thank you.
Podcast.
Cheers,
Thanks
cheers,
for
guys.
coming.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely
Cheers.
good.